This before, and I don't know what happened to the footage, but it got lost. But yeah, I talked in great detail about it a few minutes ago. It was a good 9-minute video. But it's basically saying that Leo Farrell, the tarnished at the moment, wrote to the four big social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, to say, and again, this is the word I use, illegal gatherings. Where did you hear that before? Where did I hear that? I heard that mentioned on the news the other day. Yes, a communist dictatorship. Cuba. Yes. That the people over there are demanding their food and demanding their freedom back. And against the communist dictatorship, the biggest protests in 30 years. And the communist regime over there said it was an illegal gatherings and it shouldn't be going on. And this is what tarnished Leo Franco said, that they're illegal gatherings. And they're saying to the big social media platforms, they take action against these people protesting. We can't have that. We can't have people protesting. God forbid. They're entitled to protest until the cows come home. But if we're not allowed, we don't want it. Again, it sounds very like the Soviet Union. They don't want people using their rights. They want people to be sitting at home doing nothing. And they don't want them protesting about anything. Again, just to emphasise this, any protest or anything on social media that causes harm or threatens harm to anybody else, that should be something should be done about that. Of course, 100%. We don't want anybody to be hurt or seriously injured. That's straight away. But again, if it's peaceful, if it's a plan of peaceful demonstration, take for example, if it's from Let's the House to God forbid Cork, and they're all going to march from Let's the House night and day down to Cork. There's nothing that can be done to stop them. Maybe they might disrupt a bit of traffic, but at the end of the day, there's nothing. They have every right. They have every right to walk in their own country and to go wherever they want in their own country. There's nothing really can be done about it. But again, I understand, some of the protests last year, we were making some of them were violent. There was 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that were out to cause trouble. And that's what we need to acknowledge. Not all of them were violent. And that's 100%. Some of them were out to cause trouble, and we have to deal with them people individually. But demonising everybody for 1 or 2 causing a bit of hassle is not right. It's not right. And again, who says it's an illegal gathering? Who says? Because in China, they said the pro-democracy demonstrators in Hong Kong, they were illegal gatherings. They shouldn't have been there. The Tiananmen Square, Mongolia, this year, the Chinese authorities said they were illegal gatherings. Shouldn't be going on. They're illegal. Deadly illegal. They shouldn't be there. Them standing and praying in the street, they shouldn't be there. This is a disgrace. And whatever Badetti lockdowns or went to the groups or went to that protest and they have every right. They have every right to protest. And again, I wouldn't blame them. I really wouldn't blame them. I went to one myself and I will say that straight. Because at the end of the day, and I put this straight to people, enough is enough, and that's just putting it straight. It's enough is enough. And Leo, I'll tell you straight, Leo, it's borderline treason what you're writing to the big social media platforms. Because I'm sure it says in the Constitution you're entitled to protest, you're entitled to voice your opinion. There's nothing that can stop you, unless you're violent, obviously. That's a different element. But you can't silence anybody. Take, for example, there's a pro-Palestinian march in the town yesterday. 120 people went. Are you seriously suggesting, and the majority of them were young teenagers that were at it, and you suggesting that the guards should have went and battered them off the streets? Are you suggesting that, Leo? Is that considered a legal gathering? Or take, for example, there was a protest in Cavan a few weeks ago about mental health services, and a good few young people were talking about their experience and protesting outside Cavan General Hospital. Are you really suggesting them young people who are begging for services, what help for them? What help for their mental health are suffering? Are you suggesting that these people should be thrown in prison and the key thrown away? Are you really suggesting that's illegal? Or are you suggesting, take for example, hypothetically, if some woman got knocked down by a drunk driver, right, and the justice system said, we're not going to prosecute this man because he knows Drew Harris, and Drew Harris called him a favour. Take for example, that's just hypothetically. Are you suggesting the people, that 300, 600 people that march outside the courthouse, demanding that person to be prosecuted? Are you suggesting them people are illegal gathering too? Again, this is the thing. Who says they're illegal? Who says they're illegal? Take, for example, the Demolins workers that were out for a long time protesting. The guards were out, throwing them into the back of squad cars for sitting on the street. For sitting there peacefully on the street, and the guards come over and being little NKVD units to disperse them and trying to frighten them. Are you seriously suggesting them people who lost their jobs, who didn't get redundancies, are you suggesting them people are an enemy of the state? Are you suggesting that? Is that counted as illegal? Because they're standing up against a company that infringed on their rights. Are you really suggesting that? Somebody please explain. Leo, would you mind explaining, please? But again, I can't stress this enough. But if there's any groups who entered the threatening violence or entered that, 100% there should be something done about it. 100%, I'm sure everybody agree with it. We don't want anybody being hurt or injured, or killed, God forbid. But it's just putting it straight. Illegal gatherings, simple as that. That sounds like China, and I'm sure Leo would agree. He probably has good friends with the Chinese government. But again, I'm sure Leo would agree. In any democracy, again, any country that cherishes democracy cherishes the people's right to their freedom. Again, it boils down to this: their freedom and their rights and their liberties and the responsibility as human beings and as citizens of the Irish Republic, that they can choose how to behave, that they can do it themselves. One or two, there's always going to be one. If you have 1,000 people protesting on the street, for example, there's always going to be one or two there that's going to cause a bit of hassle. And we have to admit, no matter if it's any protest under the sun, if it's about a bridge, for example, it's about water supply, whatever, there's always going to be one or two that causes hassle. And we have to acknowledge that, and we have to deal with them, not deal with the people and demonise the people who are there, no matter what it is. And I say to Leo, again, if it's violence or any threats of violence and things like that, I would understand why you write it. But I don't see what you're saying here. Basically saying illegal gatherings, that's what you're bringing at here. But I can't understand what's demonised as illegal gathering. So yeah, take care of it, bye.